Hi, this is the second part of the video, what is a genetic shift? What must you do? You have to get back in sync with Earth, back to the basics. When music started out, it was organic or natural sounds. When you hear a drum, it's a drum sound. The doof and conga are natural sounds. In the Yoruba tribe of Africa, when they play the drums, they are calling on their gods. In Latin America, it sounded like conga, so that's what they call it. In Sudan, it sounded like doof, so that's what they call it. First you had voices, then drums were added, and tambourines, organs, etc. And now you have a band. All of this for the elimination of human life on the planet Earth for the occupation of aliens. You have to attune your soul to the sacred tone of the universe from Mother Earth. She is alive and hums and breathes, and you are a part of her. You all are children of Mother Earth, Adamites. This stone is all encompassing and it has no limits. It is the medium to the source whose love cannot be contained, for it is ever boundless. Also Anu, who is Arion El, is a Natir, guardian of the sacred tone. The sacred tone of which I speak is the Ain principle, or the sound Aum, the one you are hearing. Notice, if you will, the sound of Aum is as the sound of the first letters in the word omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent, three attributes of the Supreme. The Aum sound comes from what the scientific community refers to as the Big Bang Theory. When you look up the word theory in the American Heritage Dictionary, it is defined as systematically organized knowledge applicable in a relatively wide variety of circumstances, especially a system of assumptions, accepted principles, and rules of procedure devised to analyze, predict, or otherwise explain the nature or behavior of a specified set of phenomena. The word theory comes from the late Latin theoria, from Greek, from theoros, meaning spectator, from thea, a viewing, and oros, seeing. Make note that though they call it a theory, they say seeing is believing, when in actuality, hearing and reading is believing, seeing is knowing. Their word theory, as the Greeks say, theoris or thuiris, becomes theos for God in Greek, where they get theology taken from the Egyptian goddess Tawiret, the Egyptian goddess of women in childbirth, and this birth is the birth of the sun, Tawiret was hated by the Greeks because she was the center of the IU net, or Tantere, called by the Greeks Dendera calendar, and she represented mitochondria DNA in the center of the Dendera zodiac. Although they call it the Big Bang Theory, contact is a reality, like the sperm hitting the ovum. Though the human ear cannot hear it, it is a bang to microscopic existing entities. When positive and negative charges clash, though you do not hear it, it is a bang to minute energy. So, in actuality, the Big Bang is a reality. It is just another Big Bang, as another incident that occurs and reoccurs. As things come into existence, or here things become something, the sum of a thing would need another thing to have a bang, a Big Bang. Their problem is comprehending matter and antimatter as the things that clash to bring about alternate things. So by their rule, it is untrue. There was no single one Big Bang, as the statement would imply that something just went bang without a reason or cause or under control, direction or command. The original dot was not alone, for it existed in a state of existence. The most important Big Bang depends on the beings that were affected by it. In your case, in your beginning, this Big Bang was 24 billion years ago when Nibiru, a craft controlled by the Anunnaki, collided into planet Tamtu or Tanin, called Tiamat and the Key, and caused a Big Bang. There were others. This incident was not at the very beginning of all things, but in the beginning of an ongoing event. As you know, this planet is just one of the many in this solar system, and even less important in the universe. It is egotistical and naive to think that no other intelligent life exists in the boundless universes, except here on the 7th planet, the 3rd from the sun. If it is a chain of events, then each action has a previous cause. So you can't have a chain of events to occur by accident, the same way each time, year in and year out, for thousands of years. In that case, accidents would still be the rule in the universe, and they are not. They are also a part of a system of things. You have thought that because the Luciferians and reptilians, the serpent children, Genesis 3:14, must keep you ignoring true scientific data to enforce religious beliefs and keep you worshiping them, Revelation 3:15, and their image, so as not to alarm the God within. Psalms 82:6, John 10:34. Do they know these facts? Indeed, they do. And of the many bangs, and the biggest bang, the dragon's seed comes in all races. They could be anybody, maybe you watching this video are one. The bangs created vibrations, a friction that results in sound. Each additional bang had a different time and distance and magnitude that created a harmony of music heard to the true listener of Aum, or Aum, as Amun, the Amen. It vibrates at a rate of 144, and it is the letter D of the first center C by octave bass. Its color is green. I introduced you or to this stone of Aum that you hear coming out of the Black Pyramid or Black Mir, better known as the Maguraj, at the sacred labyrinth located in Tamare, Egypt of the West. This stone Aum in the human voice is a replica sound of the multiple Big Bangs that took place, different explosions in the universe. That's why I used to say babies go kha, kha, kha. They remember that vibration as they were coming into existence, and they could hear the universe from the other side, and they could hear things rubbing to create friction that creates sparks, that creates light, and they hear chi. That's why they use chi for creation in Hebrew as well as in Arabic, which they usually grab from the Sumerian doctrine, or chet, which in Tamare means that dead body, that existing thing waiting for transformation. So all things are created in tones of octaves of energy and vibration. The translation of the word Aum is so be it. It also means to prevail, to spread over, to reign or dominate. And surely the omnipotent is the source and force of the universes, whose power overshadows all creation. After a universe collapses in its center or contracts, it expands, which is an explosion called a Big Bang, producing the sound Kha, from which the word Khalug, create, comes. This occurrence of contraction and expansion is something that happens all the time, which is why there is no real space of division between galaxies. They overlap each other the way bubbles connect to each other, just as the planes do. It is the same sound that each being that comes into this world, as the womb contracts to yield a birth, and the baby gurgles, Ra, or Cha, remembering the songs of chaos in creation. As one thing comes into existence, it fractures other things to form itself. It is a gradual process of development in the womb, as the songs of an octave. Each C note of each octave is the same C note vibrating on a higher or lower scale called the tones. An octave is 8 notes, and all of the sounds, including sharps and flats, within one octave is 13. The 9th point is the actual birth, and the new being creates for the first time for all to hear his or her own tone. Such is the way of the universe and galaxies. Now, each galaxy begins expanding and growing larger until it reaches a point where it bounces off of other expanding galaxies and begins to contract. This is only to collapse and explode again, creating or reconstructing new universes. Atoms and cells all do the exact same thing the human body does. It grows and expands until it collapses. You call it death, which is merely a sickness that can be cured. So the universe does the exact same thing. It dies. When a universe dies, it explodes and causes the reverse of an expansion. The space between galaxies is always getting bigger. So billions of years ago, galaxies were closer and closer together before expanding. There had to be a point of starting. This would be this would have all the galaxies crunched together in a small space. This would have been 76 trillion years ago. The small dot or nugget exploded, and this was called the Big Bang, resulting in the expanding, then collapsing of the universe. This event still happens to this day. It is the result of the expanding, then collapsing of a universe. In your case, this universe which caused the explosion of positive and negative forces caused the negative and positive forces to clash into each other, matter and antimatter. In the scriptures, when it mentions El Ilo as the most high El, Alien El, as in the case of Genesis 14, 18 through 19, when you refer to Ilo in Syriac as Al, as an Ain, and Lam, that you add a Yod, which comes out to be Ala, meaning high, above, height, up on, etc. Ilo comes from Al or El. Otherwise, you are referring to the Canaanite Al, named Alion, when it mentions Melchizedek as being the priest of El Kohen of Elion El, the Most High. I have explained to you in a few of my scrolls how Elion and Ilion is also the 19th galaxy from which Melchizedek, also known as Yanun, is from. Yanun is his galactic name. Iliyin is also mentioned in the Quran as the place where good deeds are taken. Holy Quran 83, 18 and 19. When Elo begins to harmonize the true vibrations of creation, you get Elohim. The I am at the end of Elohim is said with a humming sound, Elohim. The humming sound implies pluralization, as in music 1, 3, 5, and there is more than one thing vibrating. When Allah is said, it is with Al or El, and it means the source, Allah. Allah, when it becomes harmonized, becomes Alihat or Allahumma, from the plural Allah, or Elohim from Elo. Both are from one and the same root. The purpose of the evil ones extending Allah by adding vowels was to defeat the vibrating sound of El or Al. Today, the Mohammedans have created a system which is called Tajweed or Tartil. Holy Quran 3:4. This is the practice of reciting Quran in certain tonations. They also created grammar to hide the Arabic mistakes in the Quran. This sort of chanting gives birth to sun letters al-haruf al-shamsiyya and moon letters al-haruf al-qamariyya of the Ashuric Syria Arabic language. The usage of some letters is one of the distortions that have been placed in Ashuric Syriac Arabic. This distortion is also acknowledged by adding al in front of these some letters. However, they have stepped and changed al to ur, which is the Babylonian word for flames of fire. So instead of pronouncing the name El Rahim, which would translate El is merciful, it is pronounced Ar Rahim, which would translate merciful fire. Are you listening, people? This is the fire of the sun. The sun deity was also Nimrod, the mighty hunter. Genesis 10:9, son of Cush and Semiramis, the Canaanites king. Genesis 10:8 through 12, who wanted to be Amun-Ra, who became a supreme deity in Kemet, Egypt, once the two kingdoms of Upper and Lower Kemet merged. Amun-Ra is also called Amun-Re, Amun-New, and Amen, which is used 72 times in the Bible, Numbers 5:22, Revelation 22:20. And Amin and El-Mu'min, Holy Quran 23:1 and Holy Quran 4:92. Amun, a man respected in ancient Egypt, and Ra, a name given to the sun and attributed to the name of the gods. The Phoenicians of the Babylonian era were sun worshippers, worshippers of the deity Baal. Now first, you must know that Baal means Lord or Master, and is used in Exodus 24:14 for just any well-to-do man. Anyone, good or bad, was called Baal in the Bible, just like you used Lord in English today, or Imam, or Pastor, or Leader, etc. The Babylonian Baal is used the same way. The Babylonian Baal was a physical man. Baal in Ashuric Syriac Arabic is Baal, and in Aramaic Hebrew, and means a furious man. Proverbs 29:22. After the death of Nimrod, he eventually was transferred to the deity Baal, and his mother Semiramis was called the Queen of Heaven, the moon deity. This is who the Mohammedans are worshipping now. Are you listening, people? In the name of Din, from the Aramaic Hebrew Din, or Ashuric Syriac Arabic Deen. The Quran of the Mohammedans uses the word Deen to be religion, when it really means decision or judgment. This carried into the Catholic religion with the worship of the Virgin Mary and her son. And they call him S-U-N in the book of Malachi 4:2. Son, Jesus. The entire story of Jesus being crucified on the cross is based on sun worship. The Mohammedans wanted to become or continue worshiping the sun and the moon, which is represented in their symbol, a 5-pointed star, a sun, and a crescent, which is a moon, and is called Din, or Dina worship, or Deen al-Islam, Holy Quran 5:3. So they added sun vowel called Shadda, which is the Aramaic Hebrew letter Shin, and the Shadda is the Aramaic Hebrew name for the God El Shaddai, the Almighty, used in worship on the headdress, a box a symbol of Solomon's temple. Solomon, his very name, Sol, Latin, for son, Hindu, for sun, Egyptian, for sun, which is also the name of Anu. And the moon vowel sukun to create sun and moon letters which would hide L's name and the true pronunciation of his name, which is the whole point of knowing the name. The vibrating sound of L is the sound of certain tones that affect certain centers of the body. For example, instead of saying Bismillah or El Rahman, El Rahim, they say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim or Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. The hir, nir, and ir or ur is the fire. The usage of the sukun over certain letters gives the incorrect pronunciation where the vibrating sound of L is lost. Now, the Toltecs reigned in what is now Central America from the 10th century to the 12th century AD. The word Toltec had more than one meaning, such as cultured person and the reed people, because of their location, Tolan, the place of reeds. They became known as builders of serpent columns and craftsmen in metalwork and peculiar reclining CHAC-MOOL figures. They are the ones known for having burnt the great city of Teotihuacan. The tribes of Central and South America are also the Hopi people. From the deity Hapi of ancient Egypt, you can see the similarities and trace them back to the ancient Maya and Aztecs. The cities today are now known as Guanajuato, Jalisco, and Michoacán. Atlan means whiteness or place of herons, which is where the name Aztec came from, meaning the people of whiteness. They dwell in 7 caves called Chicomustoc. They eventually moved and have left lasting relics in the Yucatan of their mighty temples and cities. One interesting artifact was a statue found that archaeologists know as CHAC-MOOL. The CHAC-MOOL statue is the statue of a man in stone, semi-lying down on his spine. The sole of his feet is posed on its bed. The knees are high and looking left to the horizon. In his hands is a vessel the height of the solar plexus. It is a symbol of a divine messenger who bore sacrifices and offerings in a bowl-like structure held in his hands. It also immortalized the wisdom received as a secret inheritance from their forefathers. It is also seen as on one side of the temples with a sacrificial stone on the other side. It also served as a guardian. One is located in front of the great Aztec temple in the city of Tenochtitlan. The Aztec name for this statue is Pharaon. And when vocalized and recited properly, Pharaon is a mantra that makes the astral body separate from the physical, and the soul of the person floats towards the Great Pyramid of Giza. It is not dangerous to do, and it is something that the human being can do, which is walk in the internal worlds while the conscious mind is sleeping. During this time, the etheric body has the time to heal the physical body, and when the soul returns to the body, you awake from sleep. While in these internal worlds, the soul occupies themselves in the same everyday duties that are carried out on the physical plane. So when you find yourself with rare things, persons, events that call your attention, ask yourself which you are in, the astral or the physical. So it is suggested that you give a small leap to find out what body you are walking in. This knowledge, which falls under the Nahu as secret teachings, are common to all the remote cities from ancient times. The Nahuas is the collective names of all Native American tribes of the entire American continent. Through this astral light, you will be able to dematerialize or take whatever form you wish, elastic, fluid, or invisible to the naked eye. The astral light is solar energy that is found in the main seat or the coccyx seat of man, which then goes up to the pineal gland. This power that the Aztec referred to as the feathered serpent Quetzalcoatl awakens and ascends up to the pineal gland by way of loving magic. This energy is governed by the ancient Tamarayan deity Haru, called Harpocrates in the Greek language. In the ancient Tamarayan pantheon, it is his, Haru's, living symbol of the sun when leaving the beginning of spring. Now, using this newly discovered knowledge of the sacred tone of the universe, Aum, the humming sound and pluralization of the vibration of I am, which is also the I am principle, and the vibrating sound of LOI.